For 15 years, robot vacuums have all shared the same silent flaw. They can map your entire house, they can avoid your dog, they can empty their own dustbin, but they cannot pick up a single sock. Until now. A company in China just gave a robot vacuum something no mass-produced cleaning robot has ever had: an arm. And that one addition might be the moment the entire category, as we've known it, starts to disappear. Robot vacuums are one of the quiet success stories of home technology. They map rooms with lasers. They build digital floor plans. They dock themselves, empty their own dust, even wash their own mop pads. Chinese brands like Robo Rock, Ecovacs, Dreamy, Xiaomi, and Narwhal now account for roughly 68% of the entire global robot vacuum market, according to research firm IDC. That's not a niche gadget anymore. That's most of the machines cleaning floors worldwide. And yet, for all that progress, every single one of them has operated under the exact same rule: avoid. Don't touch. If an object is on the floor, a charging cable, a shoe, a toy, the robot doesn't pick it up. It just steers around it.
We've gotten so used to this limitation that most people don't even register it as one. You just pick up before you vacuum. It's part of the ritual. Nobody questioned it, because no robot had ever offered an alternative. Here's what that ritual actually costs you. Every object left on the floor becomes a small island the robot can never clean. The area directly underneath it, and often the space around it, stays untouched, session after session, day after day. Multiply that by a household with kids, pets, or just a busy week, and a surprising percentage of your floor is quietly never actually cleaned by the autonomous machine you paid for. The deeper issue is more structural. A robot vacuum's intelligence has always been about navigation, mapping, avoiding, optimizing a path. It was never designed to manipulate anything. Its cameras and sensors can recognize a sock, but recognizing an object and physically doing something about it are two completely different engineering problems. One is perception, the other is robotics in the truest sense: grasping, lifting, carrying, placing. That gap, between I see it and I can do something about it, is exactly where the entire category has been stuck. It's not that engineers hadn't thought about this. Object recognition on robot vacuums has existed for years. Cameras that could identify a shoe, a cable, even pet waste, and steer the robot away from it. But adding an actual arm, something capable of gripping, lifting, and carrying an object, meant solving a completely different set of problems. Weight balance on a low, flat chassis. Precise force control so the robot doesn't crush what it picks up. And battery efficiency, since every extra mechanical part draws more power from an already limited unit. No mass-produced robot vacuum had shipped with a functioning mechanical arm before. It had been discussed as a concept, but never actually built into a consumer product at scale. So the question the engineers at Robo Rock ended up asking was a different one. What if, instead of designing a smarter way to avoid objects, they designed a robot that could simply remove them? At CES 2025, Robo Rock unveiled the Robo Z70, the first commercially produced robot vacuum with a retractable mechanical arm, something the company calls OmniGrip. Not a concept, not a prototype behind glass. A robot built to actually go on sale. Here's how it actually works. Inside the body of the vacuum sits a foldable, 5-axis robotic arm. Think of your own arm at the shoulder, elbow, and wrist. 5 points of movement give the arm nearly that same range of motion, but folded down flat enough to hide inside a vacuum barely a few inches tall. When the robot's onboard detection system spots something it recognizes on the floor, the arm extends, grips the object with a small claw, and carries it to a storage bin you've set up through the app. Right now, it can identify socks, sandals, small towels, and crumpled tissues. And Robo Rock has said more object types will be added through future software updates. There's a weight limit. It's built to safely lift items under 300 grams, a bit over half a pound. So don't expect it to move your shoes if they're heavy hiking boots. Think socks, not sneakers. And this isn't just about tidiness. Once the object is out of the way, the robot goes back and cleans the exact patch of floor that was hidden underneath it, closing that gap we talked about earlier. The shadow no robot vacuum could ever reach. Underneath all of that, the vacuum still does what vacuums do. It runs 22,000 pascals of suction through a brush roll designed to resist hair tangles. The arm isn't a replacement for the cleaning system. It's the missing piece that finally lets that system do its job completely. Here's where it gets bigger than one gadget. For over a decade, robot vacuum and home robot meant the same narrow thing, a disc that moves and sucks. But an arm that grips, lifts, and places objects is, mechanically speaking, the exact same category of technology used in industrial robotics and, increasingly, in humanoid robots designed for household tasks. China has been pushing household robotics well beyond vacuums, from humanoid models moving toward mass production to robots performing increasingly complex physical tasks. The Saros Z70's arm isn't really vacuum technology borrowing from robotics. It's the reverse. It's general-purpose robotic manipulation, arriving first in the cheapest, most familiar form factor consumers already trust in their homes. Analysts have pointed out that Chinese robotics companies can move from concept to shipped product dramatically faster than some of their Western counterparts, sometimes in a matter of months rather than years, according to industry commentary. Whether or not that pace holds, the direction is clear. The floor-cleaning robot may end up being the training ground where household manipulation robotics, the kind that could one day fold your laundry or clear your table, first gets tested at scale, in millions of homes, at a price people are actually willing to pay. So the real story isn't a vacuum that picks up socks. It's a preview of what happens when robots stop just sensing your home and start acting in it. Quick question before we get to the honest downsides of all this. Would you actually trust a robot arm alone in your house with your belongings? Or does that cross a line for you? Drop your honest answer in the comments. And if you're enjoying this kind of deep dive into the tech quietly reshaping our homes, a like helps this channel keep making them, and subscribing means you won't miss the next one. Now, the part every good story about a breakthrough needs. The reality check. First, the price. The Saros Z70 launched at $2,599 and has since dropped to $1,299.99. Still roughly double, sometimes triple, the cost of a well-reviewed robot vacuum without an arm. For most households, that's a significant premium for a feature that, right now, only handles 4 categories of small, light objects. Second, this is genuinely early-stage hardware. Robo Rock itself offers a cheaper sister model, the Saros 10R, which skips the arm entirely and focuses purely on cleaning performance, suggesting even the company isn't positioning the arm as something every buyer needs yet. Early hands-on demos noted occasional glitches with the arm during testing, the kind of rough edges you'd expect from a genuinely new mechanism, not a mature, decade-old product line. Third, and this is bigger than one product, the geopolitical picture around Chinese-made home robotics has shifted. As of July 28, 2026, the FCC added new restrictions affecting foreign-made advanced robotic devices, including robot vacuums, blocking new models from companies like Robo Rock, Ecovacs, Dreamy, Xiaomi, and Narwhal from receiving fresh U.S. market approval. Devices already authorized before that date, which would include the Saros Z70, can still be sold from existing inventory and continue receiving software updates, reportedly through at least January 1, 2029. But future models with even more advanced arms from Chinese manufacturers could face real hurdles reaching the U.S. market at all. So this isn't a story about a problem that's already solved. It's a robot with real limitations, a real price barrier, and a regulatory environment that's actively changing around it, released into a market that isn't fully sure yet what to do with it. Step back, and this stops being a story about vacuuming. For years, we let robots into our homes on one condition. They could look, but not touch. They mapped our floor plans, learned our routines, avoided our belongings, but they never actually interacted with the physical clutter of our lives. That condition just quietly changed. Not with a humanoid robot from a science fiction trailer, with a $1,300 vacuum that picks up a sock. If a mechanical arm can already fold itself into a machine this small and this affordable, the honest question isn't whether household robots will eventually do more than clean. It's how quickly, and whether the rules meant to govern them can keep up with how fast they're arriving. What do you think? Is a robot with a gripping arm in your living room a convenience you'd welcome, or a line you're not ready to cross yet? Let me know in the comments. I read every one. And if this kind of story is one you want more of, subscribe so you're here for whatever the next generation of these machines turns out to be able to do.